Russia has taken over the presidency of the United Nations Security Council. It sounds absurd, but in April, a representative of a terrorist country that is waging an aggressive and unmotivated war in Ukraine will be sitting in the main chair of an organization that is supposed to care about world peace. How are other UN members reacting to this, and what is Ukraine's leadership planning to do? More about this in our next story.
A cruel and inappropriate joke on the 1st of April. This is how most members of the international community reacted to the start of Russia's presidency of the United Nations Security Council. Throughout April, the main chair in the structure that is supposed to care about world peace will be occupied by a representative of a country that does not care about this peace. And despite the fact that his functions will be regulated, members of other delegations expect Moscow to use this opportunity to promote its own manipulative narratives about its aggressive and unprovoked war in Ukraine. For example, here is what Estonia's permanent representative to the UN Security Council, Rein Tamzar, had to say about the Russian presidency.
This is shameful, humiliating and dangerous for our trust and the effective functioning of this body. A country that is waging a war of aggression against its neighbor, committing the most heinous atrocities, threatening the world with the nuclear weapons, and whose leader is a war criminal with the ICC arrest warrant, should not be able to preside over a body whose purpose is to maintain international peace and security.
However, despite the symbolic function of the UN Security Council presidency, it still has a certain institutional power. This is stated in an article by Time magazine, jointly written by Ukraine's permanent representative to the UN, Serhiy Kislitsa, and Yale University's Associate Dean of Management, Jeffrey Sonnenfeld. In their opinion, a Russian representative will chair all meetings, monitor compliance with the agenda and debates, and prepare drafts of all resolutions. And the Kremlin, according to the authors of the article, has repeatedly abused procedural issues in the past. Therefore, allowing Russia to chair the Security Council for a month is a big mistake.
Known burglars are not given banks to run, nor are convicted sex offenders given charge of daycare centers. In the same vein, Putin should not be allowed to make a mockery of international diplomacy by becoming the face of global peace as he escalates his unjust invasion of Ukraine with new attacks daily.
To add fuel to the fire, Russia is not only killing Ukrainian citizens and destroying Ukrainian towns and villages, it is still the second largest arms exporter in the world. Despite the fact that its export capabilities have sharply decreased due to the war it is waging in Ukraine, Moscow continues to sell deadly weapons in large quantities, thus financing its own war machine. At the same time, Russia not only remains a permanent member of the UN Security Council, but also holds the presidency. Here is how the White House commented on this situation.
A country that flagrantly violates the UN Charter and invades its neighbor has no place on the UN Security Council. Unfortunately, Russia is a permanent member of the Security Council, and no feasible international legal pathway exists to change that reality. That is what we are living with currently. As unpalatable as it may be to see Russia presiding over the Council, the reality is this is a largely ceremonial position which rotates to Council members month by month in alphabetical order.
That is why it is now increasingly common to hear the view that the UN Security Council, in its current form, has lost its credibility. Because it has ceased to fulfill its primary function of maintaining peace in the world. Therefore, it needs to be reformed immediately. This is what President of Ukraine Volodymyr Zelensky is calling for.
There will be no reason that will stop the reform of global institutions, in particular the UN Security Council, a reform that is obviously overdue to prevent a terrorist state or any other state that wants to be a terrorist from destroying the world. Terrorists must lose to be held accountable for terror, not preside anywhere.
But while this reform is not yet in place and it is not known when it will be introduced, if ever, Ukrainian Foreign Minister Dmytro Kuleba addressed all our friends, allies and partners on his Twitter page, calling upon to make every effort to prevent any attempts by Russia to abuse its presidency.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Latest news, trends, and analytics on all about Ukraine. Like, share, and subscribe. Any questions, proposals, and comments, contact us via email.